Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time for another episode of Oxygen Not Included in our Ultimate Base 3.0. Today I have several structural things in mind. First and foremost, we want to build a transit tube access point. We discussed this in the previous episode, and I would like to see a connection to the base as well as all the way down and all the way up. We currently have 12.1 tons of plastic that should suffice to at least get us started. And our transit tube access points I'm gonna build out of copper. We probably want them nearby the exit points. So I say we're gonna have one here and then possibly one there. I also would like to see one here in the cellar. I'm actually gonna put it right next to the minor volcano. And I also noticed this volcano here on the top is finally dormant, so maybe I should be taking care of that as well. I do have a little bit of ceramic left that we could use to encase this, and then we want to dig this out and make this probably the highest priority. We want to do this right away. However, back to our transit tube project we go. Once the access point is running, we're gonna cut this off. So maybe I want to expand this and we need to make sure this is kind of possible because I need to get rid of this wall. And then last but not least, I would like to see one all the way on the top. As for the transit tubes, we're gonna keep it simple. And in the end, it's also gonna be very structured. But for now, let's just go all the way down. This still leaves us with 8.7 tons of plastic, so maybe we can actually already do it and our efforts with the glossy Dracos were not in vain. Right here I want a transit tube crossing point so we don't actually lose all of the gases. Transit tubes do suck a lot of power, so I would like to hook them up to our main grid, which is this one here. Eventually, I would like to avoid having my power spine in the ladder shaft where dupes are all the time because of the decor value. If you didn't know, this has a horrendous decor value and we would like to see more green where dupes are. So my power should either be coming from the right or the left side or even both. You know, it is still too early. We would have to dig quite a bit. I think I'm gonna keep the power spine in the middle, but mind you, that is something we're gonna change quite soon. So I'm just gonna follow the path my future transit tube is gonna be. And we're gonna connect this. Right now I'm gonna focus on completing the volcano. We're gonna pump things out as usual, just like we did with the previous iterations. I'm gonna try to make a tiny liquid lock this time around. Maybe we can get away with that. Volcano is being analyzed. Devon, as usual, doing a phenomenal job. Much better than Camille starving, for instance. We have a little bit of a body temperature problem. They are actually too cold at this point. Okay, yeah, I can see the problem. Now, considering we still have full coolant, you know what? We are just gonna raise the temperatures here. Let's put them up to, well, at least 25. Let's maybe even go 27 degrees. We might have to readjust. What's this igneous rock piece doing there? How did it get there? But my point is, once our pools of liquids get too hot, we can readjust this again. For now, as you can see, the ice is doing a great job of keeping everything cool. This is even going to allow us to more efficiently cool down the steam vent and at the same time regulate the temperatures better. Anyways, it's time to keep taking things apart, and that is going to include the metal refinery. We're also taking apart the pipes that are inside of the contraption, and then maybe I can use a liquid vent or so to get the rest of the liquid out. And we keep on building with the transit tubes, of course, which means this gas element sensor will have to go. I'm just gonna go ahead and move it over. Oh my gosh, I did not notice the Draco invasion there. Maybe, yeah, of course, it's because the eggs all land in that storage. Volcano analyzed, we have 52 cycles. Let's better hurry up. Yeah, this is actually a much better method. You can just flood the thing and then the pump is still able to get things out of there. Yeah, check this out. Slowly but surely we are rocking a bunch of transit tubes. This is very satisfying to see. Let's also keep going with the power cables. We can already finish this one. Just maybe before we hook things up, we should make sure we also have an alternate power source. I mean, I wanted to do the transit tubes first, so I have easy access to this point. But now thinking of it, if we don't have enough power, we're gonna have troubles getting in here. Oh well, it's alright to already build them. I might just go ahead and not connect them for the time being, until we are convinced we can afford it. Also, we'll be needing some heavy watt joint plates to make this work. I made a little mistake by putting the gas vent here. I'm gonna put it here at the bottom so it doesn't actually displace my little drop that I put there. There it is. This is what I'm dependent on right now. Okay, looks like this time around I didn't mess it up. We got it enclosed in a vacuum ready for the contraption. I left my duplicants building and digging for a couple of cycles, and it seems as though we are done with the transit tubes. I considered my options with the power, and we definitely have to do it soon, but I think I want to dedicate one episode to it, because it is going to be a piece of work. We still have almost 40 tons of coal. I think I can do a little boost, and later on we're gonna farm the coal with stone hatchlings anyways. The reason I haven't built a ranch for the stone hatchlings yet is because I don't want to build two ranches that I'm gonna take apart again. As I said, I would like to have this base ultimately organized. And if you can stick with the series, I promise you, you're gonna be in for a couple of surprises. Anyways, I decided how to drain the liquids here. It is time to do it. It's just gonna drop down here. But before we do that, there is one tiny improvement I would like to make to the oxygen generator there. And that is actually making these pipes here insulated right there. There's no need for us to waste potential cooling down the hydrogen. Another small adjustment I would like to make to the cool steam vent here is the settings for the liquid reservoirs. Observing it for a couple of cycles, I decided it is better to have as little liquid in there as possible, maybe even 0%, but I'm gonna go down to 5%, and we're only gonna fill it 20%. This is gonna make the cycles a little bit quicker. I mean, it was still working with the old settings, but I feel like this one is gonna be better. Also, of course, we have that debris in there because I was messing with the pipes, but we can make our way back in here. That is not the issue. To be able to use the transit tubes, we're gonna expand our power system by 3 generators. We're basically doing the same thing. Gonna need to hook this up and that, and it's probably best to add a couple more batteries. Let me actually go ahead and deconstruct these normal batteries, and we're gonna add a few smart batteries instead. And because they're all smart batteries, they might waste a little less power. Not that it is extremely important at this stage, or at any stage, but the jumbo batteries don't fill up anyways because the smart battery is giving the signals for the generators. Speaking of signals for the generators, we'll have to complete this wire. Now we're also replenishing our water sources again a little bit quicker, and also I believe, yeah, we're doing better on temperatures again. With our oxygen setup plugged up again, I would say it's time to go for it. We just take this tile apart and hopefully drain this without any accidents. There we go, all the smart batteries are hooked up, but they don't necessarily need to connect to the automation wire. However, if you want them to be evenly charged, you might want to do it. And I think, yeah, well, it's just a couple of cables, you know? And we might want to copy over the settings here as well. Hooray! Water is draining. Do we get any accidents? No, it is doing exactly what I wanted it to do. We can even get rid of that and continue the ladder there. And with that out of the way, I would say it's time to hook up the transit tubes in order to do a couple of awesome things. Also gonna hook up this guy here. I made sure to build all the cables, well, except for this one, I guess. And then all the way on the top, we can do the same thing. Well, it's already hooked up there, but it is not hooked up here. Okay, I guess I wanted to wait for the liquids to drain there. Meep! Okay, Meep actually managed to get inside, because technically you can get inside, but now he can't get out. So we need to kind of build this heavy hot wire immediately. Oh, actually it already happened, and there we go. The access tube is charging up. Last but not least, this one also needs to be hooked up, and we should be golden to go. Now, of course, this is going to use up quite a bit more coal, so we are under time pressure to build that geothermal power plant. Another thing I would like to do is clean up the basement. There is a lot of stuff that I can still use, but also stuff that is dangerous to use, such as this abyssalite at 1100 degrees, but we also have igneous rock at 52 degrees. I would like my duplicants to clean this up efficiently, but not use the power for the transit tube access, so I have to make them stay in this room. I think I'm gonna keep it quite simple with an automatic dispenser here. Actually, let's make it face the other way. The problem about this one is if we collect the materials here at the bottom, they might want to bring them over to this dispenser. We'll have to make sure to get the same priority, or a higher one. Yeah, we'll have to see if we get priority 1 as well for this guy, if they just bring it to the closest one, which would be ideal. So automatic dispenser, sweep only, all priority 1. And then we'll put this to the test by sweeping up some stuff. And actually I want to do something else. I want this to drop on an insulated tile. And because there's a vacuum and a tile that doesn't allow heat exchange, all the temperatures of the debris are going to remain the same. And well, you look at that, that seems to be working. So they just bring it to the closest automatic dispenser is my guess. But just to be sure, I'm actually going to cancel this sweeping. I don't want them to bring it downstairs. So that's good. We can keep all of the debris, kind of do a cleanup here at the bottom, and it's not even gonna take that long. We'll have everything sorted in this tile. Okay guys, as it is with me, I came back to this design. I re-established the liquid lock, and I also made some improvements concerning the automation. I actually found a way to make OR gates useful. Look at this. We have a signal coming from the liquid reservoir going to the door, but it is also going to an OR gate. This way I can steer a third mechanism independent of the two doors. So this one is going all the way up to the liquid shutoff, and that means if either of the tanks don't have the right amount of liquid, it's gonna open up the shutoff, but it is not gonna control the door of the other liquid reservoir. Same thing happens right here. I'm just going from the liquid reservoir to the door, but then also to an OR gate. Same thing right there. And the output of the OR gate is then finally steering the liquid shutoff. I also changed the thresholds again to 0 and 5%. And this way I now established a more or less constant flow of water here. So it is only shutting off for a very brief moment, and as soon as all the liquid packets have made their way back to the reservoir, the new batch is already going out. So now we have substantially less downtime, and we also have better cooling. I also changed the sensors again. The brine goes down to 22.5 degrees. Because that's gonna land in our water tank, but then the polluted water I still set to like 27 or so. Let's actually check. Yeah, 27 degrees. And now we more or less always have something in those pipes. So now when we finalize the design, the only thing we have to fix is the eyesore here at the bottom. But other than that, I'm now pretty happy, and we never had the cool steam vent overpressure either. I also made some progress here in the basement. As you can see, I started excavating everything that we don't need. And of course, I also make sure they are gathering up all the materials. So everything from the basement is basically in this tile. This is a very precious tile. I added another transit tube here at the bottom because I don't technically have a connection between the two, and I still wanted my dupes to be able to come here fast. And I did the same thing here because technically we don't have a way to get there really quickly. But with that out of the way, we have everything in place. Transit tubes can be used. I found another coal patch, so we're back to 34 tons of coal. Should be enough for what I have in mind, and then we can now start to slowly push this down. I was thinking about the neutronium here, and it's just a real pain in the butt. However, I think we can try to work around it. What if we just go ahead and ignore the part that is here on the right side, and then this could be the start of our contraption on the left side of the neutronium. Then we have all of this space, and there's still no neutronium in the way. So theoretically we can make a power plant all over the place, just starting from this. The question now is, where is going to be our magma line? If we just take the neutronium here, then there's going to be a lot of space, a lot of dead space. However, we might be able to fill this up somewhat using the magma that is on the top here. The problem about magma is it doesn't behave like water. It flows 10 tiles and then it stops. So technically you can pile up magma in some extremely weird ways. Like you can see it here, because there is a little bit of magma, it doesn't distribute the same way as water. So I still want to pick up everything here, but then we can get started. I built these ladders out of obsidian so they don't burn up. And now it's time to go for an insulated layer. I originally wanted to use the airflow tile trick. Oh, I'm actually still gonna do that, right? Yeah, we can just have airflow tiles here. The thing about airflow tiles is liquids aren't allowed to touch them. So just like with our contraption here, there is technically some liquid in here, but it's not allowed to touch it. Results in some weird visual effects. But essentially, since the liquid isn't touching the tile, they cannot exchange heat or even pressure. This means we can exploit the airflow tiles. First of all, it doesn't matter which material we build them out of, it's never gonna melt. Unless, of course, you don't have a vacuum. All gases can be heated up by the magma, and then the gases would heat up the airflow tiles. But my point is, we could go ahead, use some obsidian. Hopefully that's gonna be rather black. And then as of this point, we're gonna build airflow tiles. Right here, of course, it's not going to be a problem with the pressure. However, if we start to build airflow tiles all the way over here, we're going to have to start pushing down the magma in certain places, and then there's going to be an awful amount of liquid in one single tile, and if we just had insulated tiles, they might overpressure and actually leak the magma. So airflow tiles is the way we're gonna go, and wherever I can, I'm gonna build the tiles in a way so that we can actually still save as many materials as possible. Still constant flow. You also mentioned that in the comment section. It is better if we don't have any breaks at all, and now the breaks are so short it's barely noticeable. If I were to go in this room again, I would set up at least 2 temp shift plates, one here and one potentially there, in order to transfer heat between the already existing liquid and the steam. And look at that, we're now replenishing so much liquid. This is great. Yeah, everything is full at the moment. We're even starting to disinfect a bunch. Good times, I would say. What is our next goal? My suggestion would be to already get prepared with Rocketry a little bit. Let's have a look at the research. Colony development, probably. Yeah, we have some rocket platforms here. Space program is probably the first thing we want to go for. And then we could also go ahead and unlock the data analysis research. One of the first things I would like to set up in terms of Rocketry is a research area. I'm not sure whether or not I want to make this temporary or permanent. I mean, technically we don't need the research permanently, but I would like to have the ultimate research center maybe here on the right side. It's gonna have everything required to do the research, including a rocket platform for the orbital research. What do you think of that idea? Should we dedicate an episode to it? Okay, I decided where the airflow tiles are going. This should leave us enough space for a steam room and a steam engine setup. And I just wanted to tune in at this moment in order to show you how this is done. Right here, we don't have any magma. This is because we had that empty pocket there. However, if we check here, we have various levels of magma. Usually it goes to around 1.8 tons per tile. But right here, for instance, we have a little bit more, and that is because I pushed it down with the airflow tiles. You have to be really careful. You want to build diagonally whenever you can. So beneath all the airflow tiles that I already have, I can put another airflow tile, and whenever one is built, I can remove the top portion. This way we will be able to securely push down the magma to this level. Whoop, I actually missed them building it, but there we go. We can take apart these tiles. And even if you sometimes get a blob of magma on top of the tiles, you just sweep it up. This is actually possible. And then you can use a bottle emptier to get rid of it. I also had some accidents, had to sweep up magma. I even had some copper smelting, and all I had to do is drop them in the bottle emptier, and now they solidified here at the bottom. So it's all good and cool again. And there we go. It's basically as easy as that. And you can just keep reusing the copper materials in order to build the new tiles right there. Harold, thank you very much. We're gonna keep on building, pushing the magma over. And of course, the higher it gets, the more work is gonna be involved pushing it down. Now, this is a good example. I made a little mistake here. We have to sweep up a little bit of copper that smelt. I would prefer for it not to drop into the magma, but sometimes it just happens. For instance, right here, we now have 200 kilograms of copper, and it's forever gonna bother me. However, generally, this is a pretty secure method, especially if you take yourself the time to babysit it a little bit. Also, after you're finished, even if you don't see anything, I recommend you to once again just use the mop tool everywhere, because sometimes you're gonna find there's actually a drop of liquid there, even if you don't see it. But yeah, with that out of the way, I would say we're gonna finish this episode with the transit tubes in place, and the next time we can go mayhem, we probably have to go for an alternative power generation, and then I also would like to take care of that research module that I mentioned. That said, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Have a great time and see you in the next one. Bye bye.